computer. Brilliant. Okay, cool. Brilliant. Now let's get started. If I share my screen, and we'll get started. Cool. Brilliant. So thanks very much for coming along this afternoon. It's great to see you all and hear from you. It is as interactive as I can possibly make it. I've actually been doing some really nice, it's been really good to do some presentations, but in real life, which has been great. So I'm going to try and make it as interactive as possible. So there will be questions for you to put into the chat box, or just shout out the answers if you've got any to the questions that I ask. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to put your hand up, interrupt, raise your hand, put something in the chat box. It's not a problem at all. I've done this sort of seminar webinar seminar for quite a while now, really. So it's your session, not my session. I already know what's coming up, but it's entirely up to you to get what you want from the session. That's my objective today, is for you guys to walk away with something solid that you can actually use. Sorry I'm late. Oh yeah, I've got another one then. It says RSS G3575. Who are you? Who are you, please? Let me just see if I can get who are you?
Can you hear me? Is my sound on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's Rebecca. Rebecca at Tysers Insurance Brokers.
Rebecca Sutton.
Hi, sorry, I've just changed it. Yeah, hello.
Brilliant. Hi, Rebecca. Good to see you again.
Hello, hello.
Checking.
Thank you.
Where are you? Brilliant. Great stuff. Well. What's your YouTube name? Hannah, my YouTube name is Steve Saunders, I think, Action Coach. I'll send through the detail to you later. It's no problem. Okay, cool. Brilliant. So let's get going. So we're going to do 5 ways to grow your business. So you will get some hints and tips that you can take away and use right away in your business this afternoon or tomorrow morning, whenever you get cracking on it, really. So let's have a look. Just the first slide. There's a little bit about me. I'm the little fella on the left of the 2 little people, and I was born in that above that grocery store in West London. So I should be called Arkwright or Granville, if anyone knows the Open All Hours show. But luckily for me, I'm called Steve, so that's not so bad. I feel happy. But yeah, so a grocery background is my thing. This is a massive leap of faith. A grocer's son went to work for Sainsbury's. So I went to work for Sainsbury's as a management trainee, and then I moved somehow I ended up in the kitchen industry, and then from there I ended up doing business coaching, which is what I really enjoy. Veronica as well. Brilliant. So you can see there, this is where I try and get some sympathy, because I have got 3 daughters. Oh, hang on, 3 daughters and a wife. And we love skiing. I used to be a ski instructor and a race coach. Breaks my heart to not say I'm still that now, but that's we kind of moved on. My girls have grown up, they stopped racing, so we don't really do that so much, but we do try and get away on holiday as much as we possibly can. And there's there's me and some of my clients there at the Hatfield Porsche garage a little few years back now, actually, having a bit of fun. And there's me doing some presenting. So there you go. So that's enough about me. Certainly life at the moment, and probably hasn't ever been a time when it's not been this way, but it is a bit of a roller coaster for sure. And we've got ups and downs of all the time. So I'm just going to put, if you could just go on to mute, someone's just there's a bit of sort of background noise going on. If I just put you all onto mute for a second. That's it. Brilliant. Okay, cool. Yeah, so again, as I say, life is a bit of a roller coaster at the moment, for sure. You've got a couple of options, really. Number one is this option here. This is not me on the 18th green of or 18th hole of a golf course, looking for my ball. This is some chappie there with his head in the sand, buried, bit of an ostrich, not really looking to embrace change in any shape or form, really, which is pretty quite a human, I wouldn't say complaint, a human trait, isn't it, really? We don't like change. We really don't. And yet one thing's for sure, things will change. So we've got that option, or this is the option I've kind of been promoting lately with my clients, really, is we can't adjust the wind. So certain things are outside our control, but we can adjust our sails. So we can determine what we do. So if we want to pick up the phone to speak to more business owners, if we want to send more emails, or we want to go to more networking events, we can do that. We can choose to do that. So there are things that you can always choose to do rather than choose things that to try and be sucked along and blown along with the wind when you think perhaps I'm not in control of anything. So I always try and focus on what you can control rather than what you can't control. And interestingly, I came across this phrase, really. I hadn't really heard it before, but this phrase came up on a webinar last Friday. And the chappie, a guy called Ian Woody Woodhouse. If you get a chance to listen to him, he's really, really good, very, very good on the sort of mindset and kindness of people. But interestingly, he used this slide, and he said, the pace of change has never been this fast. So if you think things are changing now super fast, yet it will never be this slow again. So certainly in 2025 or 2030, 2035, we're going to look back and go, crikey, times moved slowly then. And it's just the kind of thing that's perpetuating through the midst of time. So I thought, wow, that's an interesting thing there, really. Things are always changing at such a pace, but they always have, and they probably always will, really. So again, we need to adjust our sails accordingly. So hopefully that makes sense. And then, does anyone know who Justin Trudeau is? Anyway, by any chance? Anyone got any?
The Canadian president.
Yeah, perfect. Well done, Paul. Yeah, gold star for you. Yeah, excellent. I had to Google that, so well done. So yeah, he's the current Canadian prime minister or president. Now then, interestingly, so we have a little formula for life success. So would you like to know the formula for life success? Please say, yes, Steve. Yeah, yes, Steve. Oh, okay, cool. Now then, brilliant. So if someone can say, yes, Steve. Now then, it's be times do equals have. All right. So what looks like really is we are looking at beg your pardon, let's just come back. Which part of that equation would we look to work on or look at first? So the first thing we'd look at, is it be, do, or have? So you can either pop an answer in the chat box, or you can shout out. It's entirely up to you. Be, do, or have. You've got a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right. Chats. Do.
I look at the words in red, so have.
Have, correct. Yeah, good. Oh, that's Danielle. Brilliant. Very good. Yeah, what we would do is looking at the words have to start with. So think of it this way. So we want to think, okay, what do we want to have? So if I'm Mo Farah, I want to have a gold medal in a 10,000 meters or 5,000 meters at the next Olympics or whichever previous Olympics I've been in. That would be the target have. And then what would I need to do to achieve that goal? And what would I need to be? What kind of person would I need to be? So the sort of things that you'd need to do would be, for instance, for a runner who need to do a lot of running, for sure. So do a lot of running, some sprinting, some distance work, endurance work, and you have to eat the right food, get to bed at the right time. And I know Mo Farah's, I've read his little or seen his little video. He was sleeping in a little oxygen tent for many months before the Olympics, the last Olympics. So he's committed, fully committed to that gold medal, really. So that would be things that he would need to do. And then the B bit would be, what kind of person would he need to be? And probably it'd be determined, conscientious, and have a hell of a belief, a self-belief that he was going to be able to win that gold medal. So hopefully that makes sense. So you've got that kind of being element, the human being, and then the human doing resulting in the have. So what is it you want to have? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So I can see Paul. Does that make sense? Quick thumbs up. Yeah, brilliant, lovely. So moving on, how we link that into our work is we can help really in these three main areas. I said I've got three daughters and a wife, and they're always running rings around me at home. So I'm quite a simple man, and I believe in business. Really, you can break it down into three parts. Part number one would be getting the work. So that's the sales and marketing operation. Part two would be the actual doing the work. So that's the operations, the delivery of the product or service that you provide. And then the third part would be the financial, and that would be getting paid for the work. So you get the work, do the work, get paid for the work. I know it's a lot more complex than that, but they're the three areas that we're looking at, really. You can pin your time down to, are you either getting work, doing the work, or getting paid for the work? So we'll give some clarity on those areas. And we're also looking to be focused and action orientated. So after each session that we do with our clients, really, I do, certainly we've spoken about a lot. What are you going to do now? What action points? And I actually do write out on an email, what action points are you going to come up with following our meeting? So that's very interesting, following up on the action points, and because that develops some visibility across the business, really. So again, right across all areas, we're very, very keen on testing and measuring and generating results, because everyone wants results. No one actually wants business coaching. People, for instance, people go to the gym, they want to get fitter, they want to feel healthier. They don't want to be doing press-ups and sit-ups and star jumps and burpees. That's not really what they want. They want the outcome of the result. So that's the sort of doing element in the be, do, have formula. Hopefully that's clear. And then on the B element, really, the sort of personal beliefs, you've got the leadership there, three elements there. Leadership for vision, mission, and values. And then you've got management for planning, controlling, and KPIs, so key performance indicators. And then the coaching side is coaching, helping and developing your team and motivating the team if you've got a team. So I'm just going to put into the, I'd like you to put into the chat box. Anyone got any ideas about the difference between leadership and management? What would be a good little definition? You can either come and talk or pop it in the chat box. Entirely up to you guys. So the question is, what's the difference between a leadership and management? So leadership and management, just for fun.
Would leadership be kind of the owner, director, management be? I don't know. Leadership is more individually based on.
Could be, yeah, could be. Yeah, leadership. The leader could be the top of the tree, if you like. Yeah, sort of organisation chart. Let's see. Oh, look, some things going into the chat box. Let's have a look. I'm looking for a good definition, actually. I always ask this question. So leadership is more individually based. Yeah, could be, couldn't it? Leader for me, Rebecca, includes themselves. Lead by example. Manager, I think, more of delegation. Yeah, leadership is by example. Management is team-based. Lead by example. Yeah. Management is ensuring getting the job done. Yeah, good one. Brilliant. Okay, yeah, thanks for that. I think probably in my work, my idea, if you like, is the leader would say, right, this is where we're heading, this is the direction we're going to take, and the manager would actually make sure the team got us to that place. So a bit like I'm not a sort of Star Trekky nerd, so please don't think I am. But if it was Star Trek, it would be right. The captain or Picard or Kirk or whoever says, right, this is where we're going. Take the ship over there, and then he'd say, right, Scotty, make it happen. I know Picard always says, well, this is what we're going to do. Make it happen. Make it so. So the leader's got that vision of, well, this is where we're going, and taking everyone along there on that journey. And then the management are actually making sure you go along that journey together. So hopefully that makes sense. And then the coaching really, I suppose, is how you can treat people and keeping people on track within that journey. So that's just a little bit of an idea of the sort of different areas that we're looking at really. So be, do, have is one of our formulas. This is another really key slide. I'm sure some of you might have seen this before, but it's kind of based on the B side, really, the sort of belief side. And this is a line, really, and it's a line of choice. So you can decide where you want to be on that line. If you want to be below the line, you're looking at blaming other people. So it's not my fault, it was so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah, which is a good one when you've got 3 daughters. There's never anything that actually goes wrong on anyone. They'll never own up to anything. So it's always one of them that they blame each other. Excuses. So a good excuse would be maybe, if you were late, it's too much traffic on the roads, or I overslept through my alarm, or whatever excuse people come up with. The dog ate my homework is probably a good old classic. And then probably the worst bit there is denial. So it's not a river in Africa. Some people are living in denial, thinking I'm doing a really good job, but really all they're doing is whinging and whining and blaming other people and making excuses. So that sort of is below the line behavior. We want to be above the line behavior in our mindset. So we want to be responsible. So as human beings, we are responsible for our actions. We don't fly south for the summer, not unless we're really wealthy. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I remember a guy from Harrogate. He says, it doesn't rain in February. I says, and you think, what? In Harrogate, in Yorkshire, I'm sure it's raining in February. He says, well, I'm not in Yorkshire. I fly south to Australia, and it doesn't rain in February in Australia because it's that summer. So I thought, that's a very interesting way of looking at things. But I've never met, he's the only person I've ever met who does that. We don't tend to fly south for the summer. We are accountable for our actions, aren't we, really? So I think the difference perhaps there of being responsible and accountable would be perhaps on the accountability, you're putting a number on something or a time. So I will be responsible for turning off my laptop, for instance, at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whenever it is. Whereas I'm responsible and accountable for doing it at a certain time. And then probably the one step above that is the ownership. And we're looking to own that task that we're working on. So you've got the ownership, accountability, and responsible. And if you're taking actions along those 3, you will end up with results rather than reasons for not doing something. So below the line is probably a reason why you've not got round to it. I was busy doing something else, or whatever it is, or whatever it was. I know I mentioned it's just started raining, and we've got some washing out on the line, and my daughter's just put nail varnish on her fingers. So she's saying, I can't, her excuses for not bringing the washing in is that she's got a nail varnish on. Well, my excuse is I'm doing this webinar. So that's so you can dip down below the line, but I think I've got a good reason for it, really. So you don't be afraid of dipping down occasionally, but really we want to be above that line. Yeah, so we want to take ownership. So have a little think then, if that makes sense, because one last little bit, the results bit, the people that are above the line tend to be energized, positive, optimistic, forward-thinking people that are doing things and taking action. Whereas the below the line thinkers are those people that you meet are just draining your energy, and they can come up with a million reasons why they can't do something. When you think, well, hang on, you could have, with that amount of energy into why you can't do something, surely you could have done whatever it was before then and got it done. So if that's above and below the line, I want you to think of this week's, was what's Thursday now, isn't it? So cast your mind back to Monday. So just be thinking throughout this week on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 would be you're completely smashed it, owning everything for the whole week, would be 10. And if you were living in denial and really not doing much, you'd be a 1. There's no real reason I can't measure this and can't prove anything, but if you could pop your scores in the chat box, I'd be interested to see where see if it's made sense, this above and below the line, really, because it is your choice, isn't it? Really, you can choose to take ownership, or you can choose not to do something. It's your choice. So let's have a look and see what's in the scores. Scores on the doors. Oh, okay. So we got 7, 6, 7, 8 in work. Oh, in work. Oh, 6 in home life. Okay. Anyone else? Any more? That's a brilliant answer. I'm a procrastinator. I score very low. Yeah. And it's interesting, Hannah, because you were procrastinating about putting your answer into the chat box. So that speaks for itself, doesn't it? Really, brilliant, super. Thanks for that. Good answers. Lovely. So above and below the line is a really key thing, really, to think: am I taking ownership? Am I responsible for my actions? And I've always thought throughout my 8 and 3, brilliant. So I've always thought that I actually work for myself and my family. That happened when I worked for Sainsbury's. I happened to get paid by Sainsbury's, but I was working for myself and my family at the time, just myself at the time. And then, so it's that kind of ownership that we're looking for. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Now then, let's moving into, we've got our framework where we get this 5, I know we're keen to get onto the 5 ways of growing your business. This is our framework, and it is literally a framework that we can work on with business owners. And we're trying to go up that ladder up to the top to results. So the results are the business is kind of a well-oiled machine that's working without the business owner, and they can choose to do whatever task they would prefer not to do or not to do. So it's entirely up to you. So it's that freedom of choice that we're looking at. So starting off at the mastery level is the foundations. So we're looking at building strong foundations in these 4 areas. So finance would be, I'm not an accountant, but you do need to know some numbers. I am a Chelsea fan for my sins, and it's quite interesting that last year we bought a chappie called Romelu Lukaku for £97 million, and we've now transferred him or sent him on loan to Inter Milan, where we bought him from, for, guess what, £9 million. So we've lost £90 million nearly, and you think, well, hang on, that's not quite good business, that, in my mind, and you don't need to be an accountant to work that one out. So finance is very, very key, isn't it? I'm sure Chelsea have got big, deep coffers, really, that they certainly need to have, really. So finance would be a 1. Destination would certainly be an area. Where is the business going? Where are you looking to move things to? If we're building a house, we wouldn't just start randomly digging the ground and just digging and then think, well, I'll lay a few bricks here, there, and everywhere. You'd actually probably go to an architect, get a builder, have a plan, and think, right, okay, this is going to be my dream house, or the house I want to be living in. So hopefully that sort of kind of puts it a little bit of context. Time-wise, would be looking at helping people get their time back. One of my clients, he used to work 100 hours a week. Now he works 40. Same guy used to smoke 60 cigarettes a week. Not sure how he found the time for that, but he did. And now he doesn't smoke. So, wow, 100 hours and down to 40, 60 down to 0. So I'm really pleased with that. But yes, with time, I'm sure we can improve time management for anyone, really. That's for sure. And grabbing back a bit of time to do the things that are really important. So if you don't know where you're heading, how do you know whether they're important or not? And delivery would be consistency of delivery, really. So it would just be what is the standard of delivery for your service? I know Mark does signs. Well, if you catch him on a Monday, you get a really good sign. Well, when it comes Friday, it's all a bit blurry and the colours are all running and he's made a few spelling errors and you think, oh, well, nice. Thanks, Mark. I'll try and order on a Monday again next time. But you get the idea, hopefully. Yeah. So that'd be delivery. I don't come in and do any work with anyone in that actual business. I've worked with car garages, and I think what I could write probably on that piece of paper how much I know about cars and their engine. Put fuel in, put water in. That's about it, really. So there you go. So it's helping get that consistency that we're looking for. Now then, let's move up into the next level, which is the marketing or the sales and marketing side. So we're making our businesses profitable. So I need to have a little think of what is your point of difference? So what is your unique selling point? Because guess what? Whatever you do, there are other people doing it as well. And whether that is in the same town, the same street, same country, same county, and certainly probably with the Zoom and the technology we've got now, it's probably you're bound to get people from all over the place, aren't you, really? So what is it that makes you a point of difference that I should get my print in from you, Mark, or I should get Jane to make phone calls for me? So what is it? What do you think it is? I mean, have a little think on that. So you do need to have that point of difference. It's quite a tough question, really. Because it's certainly not, we've got great customer service. Because that's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it, really? Because no one's going to say, I'll tell you what, our customer service is terrible. You'll never want to buy from us. Well, once you bought something and it goes wrong, well, you'll never see us again. No one's ever going to say that. And we can't say, oh, we're really friendly as well. Oh, yeah. Well, are you? Not really. I'm not looking for a friend, really. I want someone to buy something from or help me to buy. That's a good one, isn't it, really? Don't think of selling, think of helping people to buy. It's a much nicer phrase. So has everyone got an idea of what their point of difference is? And if you are struggling, one thing would be you as a person, as that individual, because you are unique. No one else is going to get the same service from you. So we've got there are lots of different ways for sort of cat lovers to skin a cat, and we have lots of different. We've got there must be 250 action coaches in the UK, and they're all very different. And again, we have webinars every Friday with quite well-known speakers, and each speaker is quite different. There's not one size fits all. So it can well be that your uniqueness is you, for sure. The next part of this marketing, really, the starting bit, would be guarantees. So really a guarantee is trying to deal with the things that customers know sometimes go wrong. For instance, a plumber, sometimes they'll arrive late and they could leave a mess. So if you could be the plumber that always guarantees to be on time and leave the house clean and tidy, big tick for you. Big tick for you. So what could you that guarantee? And you can set your own rules, which is the great thing about guarantees. And then it can even make up a multiple. You know, many things could be in your guarantee, like a 7-point customer guarantee. So a plumber could be, right, we're going to arrive on time. We won't be leaving a mess. If there is a problem, we'll be back within 24 hours, or whatever you choose to do, really. I mean, I've got a guarantee. My guarantee for my clients is a 6-month guarantee, so that if after the first 6 months you've not seen the difference, so sorry, after 6 months you pay me X. If you've not seen that grow in your business, that growth in your business to that amount, we'll give you the difference back. So that's really easy for me to say, because my proviso is, providing you've turned up to the meetings, you've done the work that you've agreed that you were going to do. So if you don't do the work and you don't turn up to meetings, you're wasting your money, really, aren't you? So I've never, and this is my 8th year now, and I've never given anyone their money back, luckily. They just stop. Either they're not doing the work, so guess what? They don't do the work, it doesn't work. So they just stop and go off and do something else. But if they do the work, lo and behold, they stay with me. So I've got some clients that have been with me pretty much in my sort of 7 years. I've got a couple of guys at 6 and 7 years. So I'm really pleased about that. So what would be your guarantee? So what guarantees has anyone got a really good guarantee that they'd like to share with us? Anyone got a good guarantee that they could share? Jane, brilliant.
Also muted. I can guarantee that I will make 100 calls in a day.
Brilliant. That's a good, yeah. I think that's doable as well, isn't it? Very, very doable.
Yeah, and that's I've overachieved on 100 calls as well. So yeah. I've done over that. So that's kind of yeah,
brilliant. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, so you think actually, yeah, because I think the fear for your business, and if you don't know, Jane, she's in the telesales business, really, and the fear really is for employ Jane, and so she's only going to make 2 calls, and then just stop and then go, oh, give me some money. Yeah, that's it, Steve. I've done a day's work, and think, how do I know without seeing her phone record? Whereas, so it's a good, really good one. Brilliant. I like that. Anyone else got any other good guarantees that they could share? Not at the moment. Any in the chat box? If not, we'll move on. I'm going to call you out. Sort of. Right, let's move on. Okay, now 5 ways of growing your business. That's the title of the session. So interestingly now then, what we've got is areas that we can influence, and then I'll put some numbers in to make some clarification, really. So our 5 ways really are the words in blue. So number of leads or number of inquiries is number 1. Conversion rate is number 2. And customers is a result of having leads come into your business and converting them into sales. So that'll give you a number of customers. And then number of transactions, that's how many times the people buy from you, against how much is the average order value. And it can be an average order value. So the average order value times transactions times the customers will give you your revenue. And then from your revenue, you've got a profit margin, which will give you your gross profit to start with. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's just put some numbers in just to give you, this is sort of simple business with simple numbers, just to make it easy to understand, really. So we've got 4,000 inquiries spread over the course of 6 months, a year, however long you want to put it over. Our conversion rate is 25%. So those good at maths, it's 1,000 customers. The transactions, they buy twice in this period. So it could be once, it could be twice a year or twice every 6 months. And then you've got £100 is the average order value. So it's 100 times 2 times 1,000 gives you 200,000 as revenue. And then profit, we're on a 25% profit margin. So we're going to get £50,000 coming in as profit. So this is a headline figure on our profit. So hopefully that makes is clear. Does that make sense? Is that quick thumbs up, James? Does that make sense? Paul, thumbs up. Brilliant. Super. Right, now then, so number of leads. First off, before we just ask that, which area do you think we'd look at first in an established business to get the ball rolling? What area do you think we'd start with? If we just quickly pop that in the chat box. Is it number of leads, conversion rate, transactions, average order, profit? Profit, yeah, good. Yeah, profit. Number of leads could be, yeah, could be. Yeah, it would be the first bit, in fact, fairness, would be profit, because we want to make sure that you are making money. So you're buying widget A for X and selling it for Y. And there's a money in there too. So there's obviously, we can't make the business more, if we make the business better for everything, but still we're making no money at all, we're just going to be losing money faster. So we definitely start with profit, and then we probably move to conversion rate. But let's have a look at some ideas of getting some leads in, really. So following down from the track, so we've got leads. So one of my clients is driving me around a twist at the moment, because I keep saying you need to find out where your inquiries are coming from. He's always busy doing work and doing quotes, but he never knows where these inquiries are coming from. So all I keep saying to him is a simple phrase: how did you hear about us? How did you hear about us? And then that way you can then know which of your marketing strategies is working the best. So at the moment, he doesn't really know, and he's spending money on marketing with a web agency, and they're putting in things onto his SEO and his social media sites, and he doesn't really know whether that's paying for itself or not, really, which is driving me nuts at the moment. I'm trying to batter it. I won't give in until I get some more information on that. So really, we're looking at testing and measuring is a key thing. So which marketing strategy? So if you do networking, what networking events work best? Is it the Chamber of Commerce? Is it Business Buzz or BNI or a local network? What works for you? Which one works? And if it works, keep doing it for sure. So that's kind of getting those leads in, really. So my sort of tips for this, for the takeaway, really, would be ask how did you hear about us? So you must know where your customers, new customers, where are they coming from? And then you can then decide whether you want to, what you're investing in that marketing strategy, because all you're doing really is buying customers. So we'll be buying customers. So I'm trying to buy customers by buying the Zoom package and then doing a webinar. It's as simple as that, isn't it, really? Or you could be doing a seminar, or I could say, right, a free trip to Hawaii. I bet there'd be quite a few people coming on that one if it's a free trip to Hawaii, if that floats your boat. So hopefully that makes sense. So number of leads. So it's some good hints there. A couple of tips there. I've done this around the wrong way. Who has read on conversion rates? Do you know your conversion rate? So from quotes you send out, what is it how many of those come back? That would be giving you a conversion rate. And how many of you have read any sales books lately or listened to a podcast? And this guy here is a guy called Jeffrey Gitomer. I think his little book, the Little Red Book of Selling, that's the #1 sales book that's ever been produced, apparently, the best-selling sales book. And he calls himself, he's an amazing character. We've had him talk at a number of our conferences, and he calls himself the king of sales. And he really does know his stuff, Jeffrey. So that would be a really good book. But there are there's other books. Interestingly, the sort of sales books seem to be in red. So how to win friends and influence people. The Ultimate Sales Machine, that's a good book. That's a really good one. Alan Peace is a really good guy. Questions are the answers. And then Philip Hesketh, he was the chap that Fly Us South in February. He's a great salesman. Persuade, it's his book. So again, that would be my tips there, really. Interestingly, well, I can remember doing a webinar, a seminar a little while back, and a lady said, I'm not very good at selling. I said, well, have you been on any sales courses? No. Have you read any sales books? No. Have been anything to do with sales? No. Well, how do you think you're going to be good at something if you've never done it? It's just crazy. So a good little tip there would be find out what your conversion rate is, and then look and read and get as much as you can with sales, because everything is about helping people to buy. So think of helping people to buy. Hopefully that makes sense. So number 3, so number of transactions. So how often do people buy from you? All right. And now this is a great little tool. Because interestingly, I never ever get asked when I've had, and I don't really know with my hairline, I never really know why I'm talking about barbers, but I find myself drawn to talk about barbers. But this little barber is in Hitchin, Look Sharp Turkish barbers. It's not the best looking barbers in the town, but interestingly, they sent a little leaflet that got me in there for a half price haircut. And then once I went once, they gave me a loyalty card. So guess where I keep going? There until you notice this is my actual card. So I've got one when I go there next. So I've just had my haircut. When I go there next, I get a free haircut. And if you notice there, a hot towel shave. I've never had one of those before. So I think I might be growing a beard, especially to go along there and have the full treatment from my Turkish barbers, really. So it's a small little thing, but it's a great way of keeping me loyal to those guys. So have you got something similar? I know the big boys do similar things, don't they? They're with Sainsbury's Nectar points. I suppose the only benefit of prices going up, we're actually getting more Nectar points, which is one good thing, I suppose. But there you go. But yeah, so the Nectar cards. So what is it that you could do to get that number of transactions? I know certainly younger lads seem to be going every 2 weeks to the barbers to have a haircut. I know a footballer, Micah Richards, on one of the shows, he was saying he went every 2 days to have his haircut. Crikey, that's and I know my wife goes to the same hairdressers every 6 weeks, and we've been married 32 years nearly, and she's had the same hairdresser for all that time. So God knows how much she's actually spent with that lady. But interestingly, ladies book in for the next appointment, don't they? They know when the next appointment is, whereas men seem to just wander around aimlessly without having that much of a clue of when they're going to get their hair cut, really, unless you're Micah Richards. Hope so. Hopefully that makes sense. So how can you get someone coming back to you more often? And in some businesses, so the kitchen business I used to be in, selling fitted kitchens or helping people to sell fitted kitchens, it was one kitchen every 10 years. So we couldn't really do that. You know, that was it. Just that figure would just be one. On the other 4th part of the 5 ways would be average order value. So the average order value here, we're looking at increasing. So really we want to sell or get our customers to buy more from us. Yeah. So what are your, so on this spreadsheet here, you've got all your customers down one side, and then your products or services along the top. And then you'd just be putting a tick or a cross. Do we do that with that customer? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? And there'll be a pattern emerging perhaps about what products and services you supply and offer. So it could well be, if you're a web builder, you certainly want to be building a website and then having some maintenance contracts. And then you might want to be doing some search engine optimization on the website. And then maybe you want to be doing some Google ads as well to promote the website. So what is it that you can build around your initial product that you can increase that order value and get your customer more involved with you? And certainly on the side there, on the right hand side, you can see where it says value frequency. So value would be how much have they spent with you. So that would be a great idea of like, who's my best customer. So some people, it's a bit of a surprise at times. Who's my best customer? The frequency is how often do they buy from you? And then the recency, I'm not quite sure that's a real word, but when was the last time they bought from you? Because if you say, oh yeah, they're a really good customer, but oh, hang on a minute, the last time they bought was 6 months ago. Oh, that's interesting. Perhaps they're not such a big customer of yours after all. But hopefully this magic matrix tool would certainly help to move things along for you, if that makes sense. And then introducing the profit margin strategies. And I think we've got about 350 strategies that we can bring to bear on these. I certainly don't use anywhere near all of those, but some of the ones I'm mentioning now are real winners that work for people, for sure. Have on the pricing front, on the profit margin, have a pricing review. You know, you do really need to be careful. I work with the fish and chip shop, and he's just put his prices up by about 7%, but he hasn't put it up on chips, because chips for him is quite a key sort of benchmark price. How much is a portion of chips? But everything else is needed to put it up, because he's getting hit the other side of it, really, with everything going up, with fish going up, and I think fish is more expensive than it's ever been, really. So we've been keeping an eye on it for a good few months, really, but now he's kind of finally succumbed and thought, well, I really need to put my, move my prices, but I'll do it strategically, because otherwise I'm not really going to be, I'm doing all this for no money, really. And they think, well, that's not a business, that's a hobby. So if we're looking at those 5 different areas there, and we've mentioned 1 or 2 strategies in each. So if we were to increase over a period of time, you can sort of wind this forward, would it be fair to say we could increase those blue areas by 10%? And this is where you shout, yes, Steve. Yes, Steve. So if we put 10% in, so a number of leads. So we're asking how did you hear about us? We're making sure we're doing the right marketing. So that's gone up 10%. Our conversion rate, we've actually read a sales book and been on a training session. So we're selling more, our conversion rate's going up. So that's going to give us more customers. So we've now got, because we're multiplying 4,400 by 27.5, it's 1,210, not 1,000. So this is where maths is quite interesting, and they didn't really tell you this at school. Certainly not where school I went to anyway. Then transactions, 10% more, just 0.2. Pounds, again, 110. And then where it gets interesting, look at the revenue. Now we're looking at nearly 300,000 to 292,820 pounds. Wow. Suddenly we're getting interested. We've done 4 changes, and we're probably doing those 4, the profit margin would go up anyway. But if we're actually improving that by 10%, we're now looking at a profit actual difference of what, 30,500 pounds spread over. So it's from those marginal gains just in those 10%. So that's what we're looking at. We're not trying to just reinvent the wheel. We're just looking at marginal gains. So here we're looking at that revenue over that time period. It's gone up by 46%, and then our profit has gone up by 61%, which is pretty interesting. So what would you do with an extra £30,500? A room with a view there, retire abroad, maybe. I don't think 35k is going to get you, but if you compounded that over year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, suddenly you are looking at some big numbers, aren't you, really, with the compounding of maths. You could sail around the world, or you could buy a dream car. I think that's a Aston Martin, so 30k wouldn't buy that. You'd probably buy a deposit for it. So you'd need a couple of years working on the strategies to get yourself one of those, I would imagine. but you get the idea. I'd certainly be spending more time with my girls out skiing, which would be great. So that's what we'd be up to, that's for sure. So that wraps up the five ways part, really. So just I wanted to say, thanks very much for your participation. Thanks very much for coming along this afternoon or early evening. It's this afternoon, really, isn't it? So have a little think. What is there? One or two things that you, or three things you think, actually that's hit a nerve, I should be doing that, or I'm going to investigate looking at that to do. So just spend a couple of seconds or so, minutes, not minutes, about 30 seconds, just to think. Right, and I don't need you to put anything in a chat box. If you can, if you want to put it in the chat box, brilliant, go ahead. Those of you I know, I'll probably be calling you up to see if you've done it, because I didn't mention. I forgot to mention at the start, actually, which is a shame on me. As a thank you for coming along this afternoon, I'm going to clear, I've got space in my diary that I've cleared for people coming along to the webinar. So I'll be able to, I'll send out an email to you to say, look, here's the slides that we've talked through today. And of course, we've been quite general, and it's an overview. We'd actually spend more time on your business. So looking at some specific strategies, and that would last, that's a 1 hour, either a virtual or a face-to-face coffee meeting, and that's my present, if you like, or my thank you for coming along today to stop me just talking at my screen, which would be very boring and dull. So that's why I'm able to do that, and I'll drop out that email. And then the next one, I've got another webinar coming along, and say this is my in COVID I was doing them weekly. So I've racked up quite a lot, but now I'm kind of doing monthly. So the next one's going to be end of July, make your marketing more memorable. And that's the next one. So I'll be inviting you along to that, if that's okay. So certainly I'll be sending the face-to-face or the virtual coffee agenda there. So I think I've changed my mind, really. I think, yeah, what one or two things are you going, can you put something in the chat box to say, right, this is what I'm going to be doing? Because we've got about 30 seconds, 40 seconds before it's 5 o'clock, and the satellite mysteriously shifts out of Little Wymanley. So come on, Jane, write something down. Come on, Paul. I know you're flying around Land's End or wherever you look like you are, in a red galaxy. So if I put, so let's see some things in there. Oh, brilliant. Right. Cool. Mark, yeah, so read a sales book or two. Yeah, brilliant. I would go with, if I was you, I mean, this is what I got recommended, really. This little red book of selling is really, it's Jeffrey Gitomer. It's, look, I love it. It's got pictures. Got little drawings, pictures. It's really easy to read for a simple man. Look, and it's got big writing. It's fantastic. It's just super. So that would be a good start. You can't go wrong with that, really. That'd be a great starting point for sure, that one. So brilliant, thanks for that. What have we got? Hannah, yeah, read a book about business. Right. Hannah, I've got a book for you. This is a good book. This is one of the books where we get asked. The E-Myth, by a guy called Michael Gerber. That's a really good starting point, business-wise. Again, it's quite easy to read. If it's not easy, I don't read it, really. So you can see that I've read this, is this size. And interestingly, in my little office here, my sister came in a couple of months back and she said, Steve, have you read all these books? I said, I have pretty much read most of them. But I'll confess to one I haven't read. there's a clue. Look at the size of that beast. Tony Robbins, and this is its worst. Look at the size of the writing. It's tiny.
Wow.
Talk about try and make things simple. I do not fancy reading that. It makes a good doorstop, mine. But yeah, make it simple, make it easy to get started in. If you're not a big reader, and now I used to do Audible's really good as well. So I love Audible. So if you find that's easier, if you're doing walking the dog or just listen to an Audible, that's a brilliant little way of learning. Find out more about the inquiries are coming from. Yeah, Debbie. Yeah. So where are your leads? What's working for you? It'd be a great thing. And then guess what? If it's working, keep doing it. If it's not working, stop. So that'd be good. Jane, what have you put? Number of leads, conversion rate. Yes. Yeah. How many times? Yeah. Brilliant. I've got a couple of books on startups to read. Yeah. I have to make the time to read them. Yeah. Or askeware inquiries. Yeah. Yeah, I do like Tony Robbins, but I just don't fancy reading that book. I just really don't fancy it. I don't know. Yeah, you can see, well, you know why? You can see the size of it. Brilliant. It's just gone 5 now, so thank you very much for your participation. Thanks again, and hopefully I've got everyone's email, and I'll drop you the slides, so you've got the slide deck that we've talked about. Again, I should have mentioned that at the start, but luckily I try not to have lots of writing on slides, because it's just I'm forever trying to make notes, and you think, oh, you're going to get the slides. Sometimes it's good to learn from that. So thanks again for coming along, and I hope to see you all again soon. I'm just going to stop the recording and just save the chat, but you're free to go. Thanks very much. See you all.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Bye for
Nice to
now.
see you all. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Mm.